catch up later. So my name's Sona, for those of you who don't know me. I've been in the order for many years, and I'm going to lead these 4 morning sessions in preparation for the Satipatthana retreat that's taking place in a couple of weeks' time. I just wanted to say a little bit about the meditations we're doing. First of all, we're going to be meditating, so you need a meditation posture, and you need to be able to just go into that quite quickly, because I'm not going to really say very much. But for those of you who are, I guess, I'm just assuming you're all joining the retreat, and you may have been listening to Dhammarati's introduction. I think he's recorded some introduction. I haven't listened to it, unfortunately, yet. But I just wanted to warn you that Vidyamala, myself, and Dhammarati, who will be leading the retreat, probably got our own particular styles and our own particular way of looking at things. So if you sometimes feel like there are, how could I say, not exactly mixed messages, but just different approaches, I think you want to just understand that there are just different approaches. The Satipatthana Sutta is a very, very rich sutta, and I was sort of trying to work out the best way of leading meditations. I'm more familiar with the Anapanasati Sutta than the Satipatthana Sutta, but I've obviously been studying that a lot over the years, and particularly since I've been working with breathworks. So this morning's practice is primarily about, well, all the morning's practice are simply about mindfulness, the development of mindfulness, and that's what we're training ourselves to do. And we can do this. I learned this from my piano. I mentioned Chris Waite, who's my piano teacher. He didn't directly tell me this, but I kind of tend to think of meditation these days a bit like music, is that you need to learn a technique and then you need to get into the groove. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, that doesn't really matter. But it's something like this. You know, if you were to do the mindfulness of breathing and you did counting, for instance, you might get completely sort of into a bit of a state, wondering whether you like counting or not liking counting, or shall I do it, shall I not do it? And that's kind of like, would be like the technique. You could use that technique, could use 4 stages of counting in the mindfulness of breathing. And but once you've decided how you're going to do the practice, it's good just to kind of do it and get in the groove of it. Just kind of let go into not thinking about whether you're doing it the right way or the wrong way, but just experiencing the breath. And I mention the breath because probably the big part of this meditation is going to be focusing on the breathing. So each day we're going to cover one of the 4 Satipatthanas. So there's Rupa, Vedana, Chitta, and Dhammas. And we're going to do this in quite a simple way, just focusing on Rupa as in terms of our body. And what we're going to do today is Rupa. So it'll be focusing on the body. Tomorrow it'll be a bit more on Vedana, whether we like things or not like things, whether things are pleasant, unpleasant, and then thoughts. And then on a kind of, you know, the reality of our lives, really, rather than the dharmas of awakening. If you just watched everything flowing, that would be a kind of dharma of awakening. Anyway, we'll come to that later in the week. So today, I'd just like to really start the meditation by getting you to start becoming aware of your body. So Rupa is often, the way the practice is often done is becoming aware of the body, that you know whether you're sitting down, you're walking, you're standing, you're running, whatever, dancing. And you know what it feels like to be in the body, because that's the only way you can be aware of the body. And I just like to remind you that mindfulness is really about paying attention to. So it's about paying attention to what is actually happening right now in this moment. If you're aware of your breathing, you can't be aware of anything else. You just, well, some people can, but you'll be present in your body in this moment. And so a little bit of, technique would be to just start, as it were, settling into your experience of your body. So you can now sit in your meditation posture. And what one usually does, obviously, in meditation is start to close down your senses so that you're refocusing your attention on what's going on for you right now. And in this particular practice, what's going on for us right now, what we're going to focus on is the body. And the only way you can know the body without looking at it, if your eyes are closed, is to feel it. So it's actually becoming aware of the sensations that you have a body. So I'd like to get you to now explore the sensations that tell you you have a body. And those sensations, in a way, you have all the Satipatthanas in each one of these practices. So some of those sensations may be pleasant or unpleasant, like the Vedana. But you're really focusing on, yes, I've got a sensation here. If you don't know where to start and you're spending time thinking about it, just start with your bottom on a chair. You'll have a sensation of weight of the body pressing down onto your chair or stool or cushion. And then you can be aware, if you want, if you've got a mind that's thinking a lot, maybe just think about it. You're being pulled down by gravity. Gravity is holding you down. If you're not thinking a lot, just experience the weight, the mass of your body being pulled down, pressing into your bottom, pressing into your chair, pressing into your stool. And you may notice there's some parts of the body that are uncomfortable. There may be tension. Or you may even notice that your body is quite relaxed and comfortable. So keep refocusing as your mind begins to think about these things. Keep focusing on the actual sensation that you experience in the body. This is moving from technique to being in the groove, as I call it, or in the zone. And you can explore the body while you're doing this. You could come up, go from the bottom, if you like, down the legs to your feet. How do you know you've got feet? Without looking at them, without touching them with your hands. Because if you've got legs and feet, you can feel the sensations in your legs and feet. And some parts of your legs and feet will have sort of a greater intensity. There'll be more feeling in some parts than others. Some parts you can perhaps hardly feel, maybe like your middle toes. But if you start off from your bottom and go down your legs into your thighs, your knees, do this at your own speed and end up in your toes, and you're just becoming aware of what you can feel and what you can't feel, what you kind of know is there, but you don't feel very much. So attention goes where your interest is. So if your interest is taking you off somewhere else, you're going to be taken off somewhere else. So the important thing is to become interested in this amazing thing we have called a body, rupa, pressing down, being pulled down, full of parts, particularly the element earth, the mass of muscle, skin, bones. And there's nerves running through it, telling you, transmitting signals to you of sensations. And just feel it rather than thinking about it. If you need to think about it because that's an easy way in for you, do so. And then coming back up to the bottom, the weight, kind of focal point really when you're sitting up to meditate. You have the upper body, the torso and the arms. And becoming aware of sensations in the back. And the shoulders. And the arms and the hands. Becoming aware of how you've placed your hands, where they're resting. And at this time, it's quite good to readjust if you feel you're holding things in tension, so that you can kind of let go into a non-conceptual exploration of experiencing the upper body. Just checking whether your abdominal region is tight. It's often a sign of anxiety or slight worry. And if you can let go of that by being aware of it, often paying attention to different parts of the body changes the experiencing. So where there's tightness, paying attention to tightness, and you can, if you like, with the out breath, have an intention of letting go of the tightness. And this tightness may be also experienced in the shoulders. Many people have tight necks and shoulders. And above your torso, you have the limb of the body, the head, which is rather heavy. It's something like 6 to 8 or more kilos. And if it's not aligned, it's going to tense up the muscles of your neck and shoulders. This is all about the foundation of rupa, of the body, knowing your body, knowing this mass of body. And again, readjusting if you find the head is leaning one way or another. There's usually tension in the neck might tell you this. And you may want to extend the back of the neck, which pulls the chin in slightly. So in the meditations of the Satipatthanas, particularly in the Anapanasati, it's all about breathing, because you don't have a body that's just a mountain-like lump of rock. It's an organism that is in constant motion. There's heat in the body, there's water in the body, there's the solid mass element in the body. There's so many ways of experiencing the rupa of the body. But perhaps the most used way, the most helpful way, is following in the Buddha's footsteps, that when the night of his enlightenment, he started practicing breathing, paying attention to the breath, coming in and going out. So if we move our attention to our breathing, that sentence is kind of conceptual in a way, because you need to figure out, how do you know you're breathing? So I'm trying to make this more interesting. So just ask yourself, how do I know I'm breathing? And feel the sensations in the body. In a little while, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let you find your own way with this practice. But just a couple of things about breathing. Breathing has a very calming effect on our nervous system. Just simply by paying attention to our breath coming in and going out, feeling the different sensations. Could be like a whole body experience, or it may be more of a focused experience. Or you could even count if your mind is wandering all over the place and you want to make it a bit more kind of complicated, a bit more involved. If you did some counting. Whatever works for you, the object is to become aware of you have a body that's breathing, and you're learning to read that, to pay attention to it, not from your head, but from the whole nervous system, from the whole system of paying attention to. And this is where it's like getting into the groove, where you can just let go into the practice of being aware of breathing that is taking place in your body. So we're going to continue now for another 30 minutes, just practicing this. And I may just once or twice just check that you are with us still, not wandered off somewhere else in terms of your mind thoughts. So just allowing attention to drop into the body, paying attention to the sensations of breathing. For those of you who may be noticing that you're thinking, the thoughts are taking your attention away, then you could practice becoming aware of the effect of a thought on your body. For instance, if you're anxious about something, you'll most likely experience tension, probably in the abdominal region or the shoulders, with that thought. So it's like using that thought as the practice. And ideally, just being aware of the breath constantly coming and going, rhythm. And if you find yourself kind of relaxing, as it were, into a more absorbed state, don't forget the breathing in the body. This would be more like being in the groove, where the practice is becoming easier. as I said earlier, what we're interested in is where our mind goes and where our attention goes. So if your attention's going off to thinking about other things, then just remember that this Satipatthana of awareness of rupa, of the body, is a foundation, a very important foundation that will be taken into the other Satipatthanas. And instead of trying to stop thinking or getting frustrated you're thinking, use your thinking, use your ability to be aware of what effects your thinking has on your body. You may have a thought, a pleasant thought. It may be looking forward to doing something soon. It's pleasant. How does that affect you in the body? And if you can keep the rhythm and the feeling of this kind of almost like a tune, a music playing of the in and the out breath going in the background, just allow yourself to experience and to become aware of, pay attention to the relationship between your thinking and your body. And if you are finding you're becoming more absorbed and thoughts are drift kind of there but fading away, it's quite easy to forget about the body too. So stay with the sensations with the body as your mind quietens down, feeling more absorbed. And the easiest way is to stay with your breathing. Maybe now we could just start paying attention to the fact that rupa isn't solid, fixed state, but it's a flexible, moving, flowing state. The body isn't a lump of inert matter. The breath bringing life to the body, the blood circulating, the nerves firing, triggering sensations. There's so much movement, so much flow. Kind of reminder of the Dharma, of insubstantiality, impermanence, everything changing. This being that becomes, changing and changing again. And still there are sensations telling us we have a body. We can pay attention more to this. And we could just lastly reflect on the fact that Rupa, our own body, is all part of an interconnected world. And for instance, there's about 40 of us paying attention to our body, our breathing. We're all breathing in, we're all breathing out. And just letting that thought sit there, allowing the imagination to imagine, to be with, connect with all the others who are sitting in different places, all breathing. Let's all breathe together with a sense of Kalyana Mitrata, spiritual friendship, Sangha, our whole spiritual body, breathing, thinking, being affected, and then coming back and paying attention to our own body and the world, one another, again and again. And how does that feel in your body if you do that? That opening up, maybe well-wishing, maybe allowing metta to flow, to everyone else here. Can we feel it in the body? And just lastly, you can have a sense of probably through the imagination, you can have a sense of the whole of existence that seems so solid. It's all flexing. Everything's in a state of flowing, creating, dying, becoming, fading, moving, changing. So Rupa has a dynamic aspect to it. Form changing into slightly different form. How does that feel in your body? Can you feel connected to the whole world, the whole of our species or humanity? All have shapes, form, take up space, either hot or cold. Temperature changes, size changes, color changes, light changes. And still you're breathing. You're still part of it all. And just to round off the meditation, just allowing yourself to relax a little more and perhaps have a kind of pay attention to, or just ask yourself the question, what happened during this practice? If there was something, was there a trained tendency? And if you want to, you could commit that to words. You could put it in the chat box, and it leaves a kind of stronger imprint in our mind when we do that. Possibly helps us to remember the practice of being aware of rupa, body in relationship to others, the world, sensations in the body. If you're going to put anything in the chat box, it's good to make sure it goes to everyone. Otherwise, no one will see it. Okay, so that's the practice for today. And tomorrow we'll be focusing more on Vedana, and we'll see how that goes for you. So I think I turn the recording off now, Ben.